If you are attending D&D in a Castle 2025 and you're playing at one of my tables, stop watching this video now. It contains spoilers of the adventure that I have planned for you. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Guide to Adventures. I hope you have enjoyed the journey so far. Now we're actually at the adventure part. I'm excited and I hope you are too. And if you have been enjoying this series, hit that like button. It really helps the channel, helps me to know that what I'm doing is appreciated. Now, designing the adventure. This is me spitballing as we're going, folks. Unlike previous videos where I've designed the adventure already, this is me spitballing where we're going. Firstly, something to bear in mind is that this particular adventure is designed on a specific time frame. D&D in a Castle is all about 3 days of role-playing for at least 8 hours a day. And that's it. So the story has to sit within a 24-hour block. It also fits on 3 days, which is kind of useful because that's 3 acts, right? Although the intro act should not take a full 8 hours, for only an 8-hour middle and then an 8-hour conclusion. But it gives us something to think about. What I also like to do is think about the 3 days as 3 separate adventures that link together to create this mini campaign, if you will. So where do we start? Well, we've got the 4 adventure types: thwarting, delivering, collecting, and discovering. I think discovering, it could be useful. I'm not going to dismiss it. Thwarting, I want that to be the very last day. The big showdown, the cool event that culminates and brings everything to a head. So that means that we've got collecting, delivering, and discovering. I have it in my head that the players are going to be given a quest. Go to Darkmoor Castle. Find out why it's gone silent. So it could be discovering. Darkmoor Castle is on the edge of a swamp, according to the map, that region map that I created. So we want the players to travel to Darkmoor, discover that Darkmoor has gone silent for a reason, take over Darkmoor, stay and defend Darkmoor. So the defense is the thwarting of the thing that's happening at Darkmoor. Preventing the thing that's happening. But what is happening at Darkmoor? What is the thing that's going on? Well, we want the players to stay there. We want them to have a reason for staying there. And so thwarting is the last one. Discovering could be the second one. Why is Darkmoor so important? I feel like that could be useful, and that should be the second one. So the first one, therefore, has to be either delivering or collecting. Now, the players are not collecting anything. They are going from the capital to Darkmoor. So it is a delivery. What are they delivering? Well, we needed NPCs. We needed lots of NPCs. Remember last week's video? Go check it out if you haven't. We need those NPCs to die, basically. I'm terribly sorry, but we need you to die. To create some drama, some tension, and some horror. We need the NPCs. So they are delivering NPCs to this castle. They're delivering themselves to this castle. All right, so that means the first part of the journey is delivering. And what are the components of delivering? It means the PCs have got something that is going to be picked at and attacked and tried to be whittled away until they can no longer deliver the thing. So our adventure, therefore, starts with the PCs being given a wagon train of multiple NPCs, supplies, goods, everything they could possibly want. And they then have to shepherd this supply convoy to the castle. That means going through the swamp. But the swamp is only on the one side of the castle. So the swamp's going to move. The swamp is going to move. In the complete guide to creating awesome locations, one of the ideas for a swamp was a mobile swamp, a swamp that migrated. Perhaps the swamp hasn't migrated, but perhaps the swamp, though, has grown. It is organically growing around the castle. So it's enveloped the castle, if you will. What that means is our very first kind of point of contact with the castle problem will be, I thought the swamp was several miles away from the castle. We are still several miles away from the castle on the non-swamp side, and yet we're moving through swamp. Ah. Okay, so the swamp's moved. We'll figure out why later. Our journey, therefore. We need the player characters to enjoy and start to fall in love with the NPCs. Otherwise, killing them is going to be meaningless. So our convoy, therefore, needs to have something happen to them before they get to the swamps of sadness and death. The convoy needs to encounter something, or someone needs to be preventing the convoy from getting there. Ah, okay. So someone is in the convoy who is working for the big bad or whatever, and is going to be luring monsters and horrible things to try and attack the convoy, to try and prevent the convoy from happening. Okay, cool. So we have this individual. They're going to try and cause the convoy to be destroyed. So our very first encounter will be the convoy on the road. Everything's fun and hunky-dory, and then they're going to get attacked. And it could be innocent. It could look as if it was a random attack. Bandits, perhaps, can attack the party. Now, the party are all level 9, so it's going to have to be some significant bandit action going on. But the convoy will be attacked. In between the attack and the swamp, the convoy has time to develop some bonds with the PCs. My usual trick is to have some youngsters who try and emulate the PCs, which I think could still work beautifully here, especially if I have 4 or 5 little NPC youngsters who have formed their own miniature version and are trying to emulate the PCs. That could work quite well. I'm going to dig into the backstories of the PCs as well, because all of the players have got these really cool backstories that they've been working on. Maybe add some components into the convoy for that. They get to the swamp. They struggle through the swamp of sadness / fireballs. Maybe instead of fireballs, it should just be swamp gas that's exploding. We can throw in some giant alligators. There's some cool things that we can do with that. I was thinking perhaps trolls. Trolls live in swamps. Trolls could be quite fun. They're quite tough. They should put the party at some pressure. Once the party gets out of the swamp or gets through the swamp, they get to the castle. And that's the big reveal. They're going to discover the castle's in ruins. Part of why they have to rebuild. Their mission is to deliver the convoy, deliver the supplies, and then get this castle up and functioning. So that means whilst they're trying to get this castle up and functioning, whatever dark forces are acting are going to have to try and stop this thing from happening, this repair work from happening. So assaults, attacks, something of that kind. I feel like the caves underneath the castle should be kept secret. They shouldn't be the point of contact. Why? I want to save those for day 2, because we've said day 2 is a discovering mission, right? So day 1, they get to the castle, they deliver the supplies, there's the final attack to try and thwart the castle rebuild from happening, from the enemy's perspective. We haven't figured out the enemy yet, we're going to get there. What is inside this castle that the enemy wants, that the PCs need to discover, and then they need to defend for the future? The PCs finish day 1. They've built the castle, assuming they've built the castle. Maybe they don't build a castle. Maybe they are overwhelmed and they have to withdraw into the swamps, but they need to get a hint of what's inside. And since we built the model to have multiple layers, multiple dungeon layers going down into that big lake, into that cave thing that we've got all of our inspiration for, something should be buried underneath Darkmoor Castle. Could be an egg of a gold dragon or something that would be useful. It could be an artifact, something that has been forgotten to time and has been buried underneath Darkmoor Castle. But before they can leave, they need to figure out what is this thing. Why is the castle constantly coming under attack? Why do bad people want this castle gone? What is here? They might want the castle gone because perhaps whatever is underneath the castle needs to be released. And if it needs to be released, then having a castle there makes it really difficult for the bad guys to do this. Okay. So now our heroes need to have as their opening part of their adventure, the introduction to the adventure for day 2, we were building up the cellars and we came across this very strange carving on the wall. It's a warning not to open the door. It's as simple as that. The PCs are going to open that door. That's going to give us our dungeon dive adventure. No, because we worked out that we want the dungeon to be a running away thing, a escape from. So I would say that what happens is they manage to get through the dungeon. It's quiet. Everything is still and unmoving. Skeletons and slimes and stuff. So it's kind of weird, but it's a reversal of what you would expect, and I kind of like those. The players are literally working their way through a dungeon where everything is dead. The giant ogre skeleton, the trolls are all in little cubes. Nothing is alive. And so the players are like, wait, where's the adventure here? Then they get into the cave and the water system, and that's where they have to go diving. Perhaps they learn as they're going down what is down here. I still don't know what's down there, right? They go into the caves, they go swimming through the caves, and then they discover that it is an egg. Let's say it's an egg. They're level 9. This is powerful stuff, right? The egg is being slowly transformed. It is slowly awakening. There could even be a bunch of cultists down there who are looking after it and are slowly bringing it to life. And when the egg hatches, it will release some terrifying thing, a Tarrasque, a reincarnation of a great worm, ancient dragon. Tarrasque, I like Tarrasque. Tarrasque is a cool idea because we got this giant castle model. The Tarrasque model is giant and huge, and D&D in a Castle supplies it, so why not? So what are the players going to do? They discover that there's this Tarrasque egg down here. They kill off the cultists who are trying to raise the egg, and then they've got to do something with the egg. Perhaps there's a ritual that they could use that would put the egg back to sleep. Or destroy the egg. I like that. But part of it will be exposing it to sunlight, hence why it's in a cave. Okay, cool. That's end of day 2. No, it's not. Because we need a hook. We need a what's going to happen in day 3. The hook is one of the scouts, an NPC, if the players haven't done it already, comes rushing in or sends a message, the sending spell, whatever, to the PCs and goes, there is an army of thousands of undead amassing about a week away in the swamp. What do you want us to do? Now, the PCs could take the egg and flee. That is a real risk. So how are we going to keep them from fleeing? Well, if the ritual that they have to cast in order to keep the creature from emerging or in order to destroy it, perhaps the ritual is tied to this location. Perhaps there's an ancient site somewhere on the location that would disempower the egg. The egg was placed here, it was protected here, it was locked away here, so destroying it here makes the most sense. Well, if the adventure is running short and the PCs have still got an extra couple of hours, they're going to need to find the ritual site. I think that's quite fun. If they are overtime, then the ritual site will be found for them. Someone from the NPC group that we've got will say, oh, I know exactly where it must be done. No, you see here, if you stand here, you are at the exact intersection of 2 magical ley lines. There isn't another one for, 100 miles in all directions. This is the only place where you can do it in time, hence keeping the players here. The undead army arrive, the siege happens. The player characters can engage with the siege, they can fight off the leaders of the siege in glorious combat, they can fight, they can destroy, they can do all sorts of cool stuff. We'll have the army people sending in assassins and attempting to get that egg out of the players' hands. The players will be protecting it, the NPCs will be fighting valiantly on behalf of the players. It will be glorious. And I think that's it. I think that's all that we need to do. So why is the swamp growing? Why is the swamp being manipulated? Because of the big bad. The big bad has the ability to grow swamp. So what is the big bad? Well, the big bad, who lives in swamps? Green dragons live in forests, black dragons live in swamps. It could be a combination. It could be 2 of them. That could be interesting. That would give me a dragon battle on day 2 and on day 3, because if it's a mated pair of black and green dragons are trying to do this thing, that could be fun. So in the caves, in the dark, it would be the black dragon, I'm guessing, and then the green dragon on the day leading their armies. So it wouldn't be undead that are crossing the swamp, it would be the thralls, corrupted ents or dryads, forest-like creatures that the green dragon has manipulated, plus the remains of the black dragon forces, which are all the swamp creatures and things. So I think that could be pretty cool as a showdown. Of course, if the player characters don't manage to complete the ritual, the Tarrasque then appears, and well, that's a whole different battle. As a matter of fact, I feel like the Tarrasque should appear anyway. As its egg is being destroyed, perhaps the spirit of the Tarrasque can come forth and challenge the player characters in a battle, something like that. Let's just see how well the NPCs are doing, how well the PCs are doing, I should say. So the dragon pair that are controlling this whole thing, they have agents. The green dragon is more likely to have the agents in the town. That's going to cause the convoy to be sabotaged. So we would hint at that by having the convoy sabotaged by foresty type of creatures, things along those lines. And then the swamp is, of course, the black dragon, sadness and despair and so on. So I think that would work quite well. That gives us a lot of ideas in terms of the creatures that we could use. I do think that this has come together. I think this is going to be a spectacular adventure. I will do a follow-up, probably in a couple of months' time. Just a little video telling you how it all went. But that has been my journey of taking a map and turning it into an adventure based on watching films, movies, gaining inspiration, gaining all of the little tools and then combining them together in this, I think, titanic adventure. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this adventure. And if you did end up playing in the game and you have now watched these videos and it completely went this way or it went in a completely different way, well, let everybody know how it went in the comments down below as well. That would be super awesome. Next week, or perhaps a little break, and then the week after, as I will have been in Japan for 3 weeks, we'll be looking at Japanese history for inspiration, and oh my goodness, if you thought the 18 for gore and violence on this series of videos was warranted, you ain't seen nothing yet. Until next time we meet, all I have to say is happy adventure creation.